さて、これからのお時間は
So now we're ready to start the panel discussion. First of all, I'd like to introduce the panelists for today. As was heard, we have the Henning Kagermann. Thank you. And next to him is Markus Heß. Thank you. And then Thomas Walloschke. And Kim Dong-sub Kim. And also from RRI, Industrial IoT Promotion, Mr. Mizukami. And as a moderator from RRI, Information Marketing Team Head, also from NRI, Mr. Fujino. Mr. Fujino is going to serve as a master of ceremony for today's panel discussion.
Okay, hello. Let's start the panel discussion. First of all, I'm very honored to be here as a coordinator of RRI International Panel with such a gorgeous panelist. Today, I would like to manage this panel discussion with the question from audience, you. So I now pick up that great questions. And first of all, first question, maybe the is written in Japanese, so I feel platform economy is controlled by giant platformer like GAFA. However, Dr. Kagermann seems to propose another options, as it were, democratize global ecosystem based on global standardization. So question is, are there any possibilities Japanese manufacturing company have a chance to succeed in global market again based on digital platform you proposed? So please answer, Kagermann.
Definitely. Is this working?
Yeah, sorry. Thank you for the question. That's the reason why I propose this, and that's the reason why I've proposed this in Japan. Because I believe that is a challenge in particular for Japan as a third largest economy and for Germany as a fourth largest economy, because I think we cannot compete with the US and China because they have special market conditions, as I pointed out, which we don't have. So it makes no sense, I think, to fight a fight with the weapons of somebody who is superior. So we have to find a different way. I believe a way which is on openness, on interoperability, on competition, is a better one at the end. And therefore, I think we should join forces, try at least to develop certain standards, offer them to others, might be as the first ones, because we have the interests, and then see if the others would join or not. But I think it's necessary to do this. That final remark, in Germany, we had the debate only inside Germany, and as far as I understood, many companies I know which are providing platforms are at least open, let's say under, the umbrella of your minister, to come to a discussion what's necessary in order to create those standards.
Okay, so the same question with Thomas, please.
Because I didn't have the translation, can you wrap up, please?
Oh, really? The same question, because
can you please repeat the question?
I'll repeat the question. Okay. So, how about Thomas? Michael, Marx.
Well, as Henning Kagermann pointed out, you have only a chance in the end if you establish open standards, and open standards are at first sight something where we had it in the presentation of colleagues, IPR is affected, and someone might think that there is a bias concerning IPR, but if you look at the international competitive situation, then it is the way Henning Kagermann pointed out. We have the US, we have China. We are, in terms of scaling, upscaling, simply unable to catch up with them. So we have to, let's say it this way, find workarounds or other strategies to join forces and to come to a certain weight within the competition that gives us a more or less level playing field, equal footing vis-à-vis to our competitors from those both areas, US and China.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there any comment? Okay, no? So how about Mizukami from the perspective of Japanese company there?
Thank you very much. I think this is a really tough theme to discuss. Well, simply, fighting against China, fighting against U.S. I think just looking them as the enemies or the big competitors may not bring us to succeed. So in the realm of the manufacturing, we have to create the situation where we can both win-win. Well, the U.S. is a huge market as well as China. So if we ignore those markets, we will not be able to succeed. So somehow we have to incorporate and embrace those players to compete. Thank you.
The next question. This question is a little bit to ask for regulation. It must be natural to change the concept of antitrust law from the context of Industry 4.0. However, there must be a big resistance force. So the question is, the movement of changing antitrust law, have this movement already been active in Europe?
Proposals are underway since, I would say, 3 to 4 years, because we addressed that very early to make people aware that the rules for platform economy are different than we have it today, and at least they should look to it. Give you the normal example everybody knows. It's too late to look to a dominating platform once it's dominating in terms of revenues or profit. It's reach. And sometimes I think the profit, etc., comes later. And therefore, at least we should at least look to different key performance indicators when we intervene. That could be a first step. Yeah.
Are there any comment from the perspective of EU? Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we have to discuss this over the last years in our Industry 4.0 community, and we did not come now to a solution. There are too many different understandings at the moment what the sense may be, what the outcome may be. I, from my experience, would say we have to wait at the moment what the requirements are, because it's, from my point of view, not clear what the ecosystem in future will be. exactly will be. And then so far we have to react agile. If you cannot do this, this is perhaps the failure. But at the moment we are working on a stable technology, not on the stable business model, because as you said, this may come later. If you start with a business model, mostly this will give unstable technology.
So you mean they just started to the changing the antitrust law from the context of Industry 4.0, maybe? So, okay, let's move on to the next question. This question is question itself is very easy. Japanese government proposed connected industries. Dr. Kagermann proposed connected business network. Yeah? Are there any big difference between two? Or is it almost the same concept? How do you feel about that?
I think it's a little bit different because a business network is more general. Industries would mean that you still have the silos of industries, and through connection you come to collaboration. A business network is more open. I think in a business network normally you would expect already participants from different industries, because as I showed earlier, it's about cross industries. It might be, give you, if I have a time, a minute, a nice example. The best example I have recently seen for a new business model is a smart factory as a service, was opened up in Munich from KUKA robot manufacturer, a consulting company, the daughter of Porsche, and the Munich Reinsurance. Now you might ask, this is really cross-industry. Why is there reinsurance in? And it's very interesting. The reinsurance company is in order to provide guaranteed availability, so that if you go below a certain threshold, let's say of 95% availability of the factory, and you lose money, you can have an insurance and the insurer give you the money. And the next step will be insured quality. It's at the beginning. And why is this happening? Because they lose top line, because you manufacture also smart now in the future, thus less incidents are there, so less insurance business and that. So they have to, let's say, supplement these lost opportunities by new ones. And that tells you this is a typical network or an ecosystem which is already cross-industry. Yeah? Therefore, I feel it's a little bit, from my personal point of view, broader context. Yeah.
Thank you. So then Mr. Mizukami, from the perspective of the Japan station. Yeah.
For Japan, we have just started to discuss our 2B model. Dr. Kagermann image is something that we also share. However, in Japan, that image, we don't have many people who share the same view in Japan. Therefore, as RRI, we would like to encourage and promote everyone's understanding, and this is the first step, but I would like to, as RRI, make our utmost efforts. So connected industries, as looking at the terminology, maybe a means of achieving something, but I think the foundation concept is the same as Dr. Kagermann's connect industries. So the concept-wise, it's similar. Yes.
So let's move on to the next question. Maybe we should show the presentation of Kagermann. Yeah. Is it? Okay. Dr. Kagermann proposed that critical request for digital platform. Critical requests.
This one?
Yeah, here. Critical requirements for digital platform that need international cooperation. Yes, these 6 issue is very important as an architecture of systematic approach to implement new social infrastructure or the info system. So the question is, who is in charge of these tasks in Japan? So maybe Mizukami is a key person to answer this question there.
Well, this is a very difficult question, and I feel perplexed how to answer to those questions. But when it comes to who, I don't think this is something we can specifically say who is responsible by name. RR is promoting various activities, but we need someone who understands it, someone who truly recognizes that this is an important issue. We need to have a group of those people and to organize ideas, viewpoints, and communicate or with the general public or with the world. It's not government. It's not one single company either. And it's rather a skillful people should get together to discuss this type of issue. That's how I view this problem.
So who should be in charge of these tasks? So how about Markus? Could you answer?
Thank you very much. I just thought about, am I entitled to comment the comment? But thank you very much for giving me the question. Because what did we do 7 years ago? We started with, we would nowadays say, a kind of nudging. Academia in Germany said, politics, you have to act. You have to act because, and then the reasoning for what later on was called Platform Industry 4.0 was given. But after the nudging, all the players came into play. And as I have shown on my chart, we have a working structure established that brings together all partners involved with politics, giving the political guidance, but experts showing the way on the substance. Because in the end, you need both. You need the lawmakers to put regulation, if needed, into place, and you need the experts to discuss the technicalities, because politics is able to discuss everything but not technicalities. So for us it was extremely crucial to have all around the table. Lawmakers, the civil society, unions, and business, academia, and in the end look who has got what kind of share to do. And our share as lawmakers, as regulators, was indeed the lowest part, because the bulk load was given by the structure of our endeavor by industry. And now we have, as I've said, the 7th year experience. It shows more clearly what kind of regulation is now needed to start into a second or even third phase. So if you don't have everybody around the table, you perhaps miss a chance to get the discussion fact-based with a workshop that is clearly distinguishing between who does what. Thank you.
Thank you. So how about Thomas? Who should be in charge of these tasks by the perspective of the EU?
Before I answer your question, I will comment the comment of the comment. and give the advice to go or to understand the normal behavior of human. And we have the experience in our working groups. We say, do we want to regulate ourselves, or do we want to go to Mr. Heß and ask him if he will do that for us? And he will to look at us and say, oh, you could have done it for your own. And this is normally the way we are working. In the EU, it's absolutely different. If I would go to the EU, they will look at me and say, oh, you are, which association are you? And this is much more important to understand that we are working on a different political floor, and that 27 or 28 countries have voices. So this is much more a higher level of communication. But we found a good scheme, because what I explained here were PPPs, and these are EU partnerships. And these partnerships, if they are well understood, have a strong voice. And that means if you understand your business, you can influence exactly not every issue here, but if you understand, for example, security or other requirements, for example, not to regulate, sometimes it's very good not to regulate, then you have the right to collaborate and not wait for the regulator. This is absolutely the wrong way.
Yeah, thank you. So, how is your country from Korean? Kim-san.
That's very difficult, and I cannot answer in one side. But I think it's twofold. One is if you look at it from the corporate side, the corporate side is different from the government side, and the corporate side is whatever that makes business opportunities, and they try to create new business models. They try to do many things together. But do we have a kind of a one-size-fits-all model or system there? I don't think so. We have it. On the other hand, the government side has two two-edged sword. One is you try to open and minimize the regulation as much as possible to free discussions, free communications. But on the other hand, because of security and others, you have to control the flow. So I don't think we have an answer for that, but I think it's as personal opinion, we need to kind of cooperate in the business to drive the opportunity and create an issues, so that and then work with the government. So those are the very, very difficult issues. And I don't know. We have the thing is we need to continue to agonize ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. But anyway, that we should create that counterpart and to create the global collaboration organization with the system to talk about and to create the kind of architecture. So how does that sound, Dr. Kagermann?
That is part of the work of our platform to make international cooperation for our partners as easy as possible, which means you have a focal point of collaboration across entire Germany, across all stakeholders in Germany, and I think that is a big benefit. I remember that I visited Korea twice, I think 2 years ago, and we proposed to your government to set up a similar organization, which Korea did, by the way, in order to make it easy for us as well to have a focal point in Korea, as you remember, and say then platform and the Korean body, like the Robot Revolution Initiative, can close work together, and we have not 3 or 4 competing. That's wasting resources. And from that point of view, I think we'll agree on this. Might be one point. It's very important in our setup that we have to some extent differentiated also between speed and taking the citizen and the society with you. And our government takes the role of also communicating to the citizens and taking them with them, whereas industry is more in the lead if it's about speed and agility. I think that's a good combination also from my point of view. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyway, your proposal for the international cooperation is very precious for us. So we have to try to create such kind of a counterparty as an organization to promote Industry 4.0, I believe that. Anyway, so next question is to talk about academy. Dr. Kagermann is a chairman, used to be a chairman of the ACATEC, is an academic society. So the question is, this question for the Japanese organization. Question is how to develop the academic organization by ACATEC. This week in CITEC, some kind of academic organization is proposed at the System Innovation Center, proposed by the Professor Oyama by Tokyo University. Are there any possibilities to make alliance with the ACATEC, this kind of academic organization in Japan?
We have that. I think Japan, Korea, China, US, they all have an Academy of Engineering. We are the Academy of Engineering, not of Science. The difference is that in our case we have the combination of academies and or universities and business. That's important. That's a difference to an Academy of Science, because we focus on innovation, and innovation means implementation, just not giving ideas, but are they implementable? Can they realize them? And I think we have these partner academies and we work with them. So we met just recently, for example, in Munich with the Chinese Academy of Engineering. And we have met with the Korean Academy of Engineering. We have met with the Japanese Academy of Engineering. That are our partners, and we like to work with them, yes. Yeah.
Thank you. So next question is small and medium-sized enterprises. In Japan, that small and medium-sized enterprises now try to implement IoT or the data alliance is now starting, but it is not so good result. So what is the best way to accelerate these kind of activities, activity of SME? What is the best practice to promote SMEs? Maybe the Thomas is.
There is no best way. You have to start. We have exactly the same discussions in every association I know, and I tell you a secret, the people talking about this are not from the SMEs. So mostly people like me from a bigger company is discussing stuff which is not part of his business. But the other side of the answer is, yes, of course, we know exactly SME requirements from our understanding because that are our customers. So we have to bring together two ideas. SME has a resource problem, and he wants to be an agile partner. And we are able to work together in a trustworthy way, maybe in a not competitive way, not in a customer way or deliverer, but in an association. And in an association, we need a voice. And this voice has to understand really why the SMEs are not members mostly in these associations. So we need a stakeholder coming from maybe not an SME, but is good enough to speak on behalf to, let's say, Mr. Heß. Yeah? So he has mostly not so many speeches to SMEs because they have no time, no money to talk about these issues. And we discussed in our organization how to work with that. We have a stakeholder, and this is working in the management board. This stakeholder is responsible for exactly these questions, talking about that, and we have a voice, but I'm absolutely sure we have to do much more, and the programs working together with SMEs are mostly only told but not done.
It's a good opportunity to...
Is there any comment on this term?
No, I will not comment this. I will add something. The baseline is, to our conviction, is quite perfect when industry and the economy organizes itself. So when those who have an issue join forces to find a clear communication line and to bring it across to politics, to perhaps act or comment what is going on. But there is another issue for government. Just the German figures. We have roughly 3.5 million companies in Germany. More than 3 million of them are SMEs. 80% of them have less than 10 employees. So for us, it is extremely important as, so to speak, the economy as a whole, that they cope with the challenges and requirements of the digital transformation process. So apart from organizing oneself to speak out about the needs and the requirements, it is in our vital interest from the political side that we get a clear picture how to help SMEs to cope with this challenge and this transformation process. A second figure, I call it the 30-30-30 example. 30% of our SMEs do not need any nudging anymore because they are clearly convinced and they are on track coping with the challenges. 30% think they don't have to do anything with the digital transformation process. The figure is a little bit diminishing, but it's still that high. The 30% in between are those we have to reach at first hand, because for our economy it's extremely important that SMEs cope with those challenges, find the impact for their business model, and find the way out and the way to the future to be successful in the future. But our worries are the last 30%. And for an economy as Germany is, this figure is fairly too high, and we need to bring it down with all means that we have, be it from industry, business side, that they tell us what they need to bring that figure down, but as well from our political side, where a little bit of nudging is included, that is frankly to be admitted.
Thank you.
Let me add a few things. Yeah.
Kim-san.
Unlike German, Korea, if you look at it, this SMEs are heavily dependent on major companies like Hyundai, Samsung. So 99% of their product is directly shipped to the major companies. So SMEs dependency, because of that, it's a little bit of awkward situation. But everybody said SMEs are very, very important. But if you really look at it, the progress of SMEs into the Industry 4.0 or Fourth Industrial Revolution is very, very poor. In the last 2 years, I've been struggling to how to basically how do we change that one? So I kind of found out about 3 or 4 items. The number one is awareness. They don't know where and how to use that, because new technology or new things means money. The idea is good. The question is, if you want to implement it, you need to put the sensors on it, IoT on it, it means money. The question, if I put this investment, do I get return on investment soon enough? Those are all questionable. So why not wait? So awareness and shows the user case is very important one. The other part is a culture. The owner of the SMEs, the culture, they have to change it. Their success of the previous success should be different from the future success. So that culture change, when we meet the SME leaders, the same thing goes to 2 companies. One company has the leader, owner of the SME has very enthusiastic about it. The progress is very well. The other part, although engineers are enthusiastic, but if the leaders are lukewarm, it doesn't go anywhere. Because SME means a small number of people, then they are busy all the time. Unless leader change their culture, it's not going to work. The third part is a kind of use case and success story. Somebody has some low-hanging fruits, and then government has to demonstrate and advertise those low-hanging fruit in a standardized form. And fourth one is, as I mentioned, kind of a standard tool to provide them easily, what we are lacking to understand and realize in order to be globally competitive, or at least competitive, which areas that we need. So it's kind of the investigation or level over there, which level are they, and the tools are important. The last item is a global collaboration, means that because if we have a success in one type of business, that may not be related to the other SMEs, but some other global company in the Switzerland or Germany has a very similar case, so that we can adapt from there.
Thank you. So, Dr. Kagermann, you pointed out that the learning system you were in your presentation. So, please explain that the learning system and the SME problem.
Now I have to ask back, what exactly are you after with this learning and SMEs learning system? Give me an indication. Because I mentioned it, let's say, with autonomous driving. That's the point?
No.
Not with SMEs.
Learning system.
Here. Learning systems?
Yeah.
Here. Okay.
No. Here.
I see. Yeah. I know. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
It's only for the autonomous system.
No. Yeah. That's a good point. No, we have. We found out, let's say, over the time that we will not be successful in Industry 4.0 without, let's say, tackling this idea of autonomous systems. And so we said, okay, let's have this as a third strategic project where we go across not only Industry 4.0 manufacturing, but smart home, everything more or less, the entire thing. And then, let's say, we felt it's so important that it's necessary to have a national platform as well, which is now, I think you can say more or less the platform for artificial intelligence. Government is involved as well. And I believe this is even broader, because in Industry 4.0, at the end, you need the companies and you need the unions and you need the government. That's it. Here, you need all stakeholders of society. It's even broader, even more difficult. I had recently, 2 days ago, a discussion with Mr. Schäuble, our head of parliament, and he invited representatives from different stakeholders. And I can tell you, it's a difficult debate, because I'm very optimistic. I believe I know what artificial intelligence can do. I believe we can do it through use cases. I believe the society is strong enough to say stop if it doesn't work. But if you listen to other people, they have completely different opinions how our society should look like, for example, in the future. So therefore, this is, from my point of view, the even more difficult societal debate, and it's important that we do it also on an international level, coming back to machines, etc., because we have to give answers on liability and ethical frameworks. And you know that the culture in Asia is a different one than the culture in Europe. Individualized, that more society, let's say, driven. And I believe it will not work in the future if we implement different ethical frameworks going forward, yeah? If you have learning systems. That's the point, yeah.
So the final question, this question is a question to Kagermann, Dr. Kagermann. Could you comment on the relations between SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, and Industry 4.0?
Yep.
That is the origin of Industry 4.0.
Yep. Yeah. I can. I think we have... it was easy in Germany to convince 2011 and 12 all stakeholders and all parties, because we promised 3 things. We promised competitiveness that was good for our businesses. I have promised ecological benefits, because resource efficiency and energy efficiency, just as an example, we have extended that recently to a concept of circular economy, which is there in Europe since 2 or 3 years. And circular economy is all about, I think, taking waste out of a system and achieving the global goals. And we have promised social benefits. That was a reason to get the unions behind: better work, more security, you know, better education, better health systems, etc. And finally, recently, I think the analysts have shown that the growth potential for the economies is huge. For example, 2 years ago, somebody said, for everybody, Japan as well, but for Germany in particular, I have it in my mind, we could double our GDP, just, let's say, through, let's say, these autonomous systems and learning systems, which is huge, if we achieve it. So therefore, it's something for everybody, and therefore I think it sells well. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Unfortunately, time is up at the moment.
So once again, please give the round of applause to the panelists. Thank you very much. So time is up. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you. So Mr. Fujino, the moderator, and also all the panelists, thank you very much. And please give them another big round of applause. Thank you very much. Thank you.